Okay, so today we're going to go over how to change a liner in your MIG welder gun. It's not something that you're going to have to do very often, maybe every 6 months, maybe even longer. It just depends on how much you're actually welding. What can happen is you can build up welding dust or metal dust, or you can get a kink in the line, or even if you drop a piece of something heavy on the line itself, you might get a kink in it and it'll slow down the wire from coming out of the gun, possibly even stop it, and you'll start burning up tips, and you'll know pretty quickly if you need to change it out. I've got my new liner here, and you can see it's really just a coiled wire. It's almost like a spring, a very tight spring, and that's what your wire feeds through. These are very inexpensive, usually anywhere from $15 to $25 depending on the machine you're using and what size wire you're going to be. Okay, so you're only going to need a handful of tools to get the job done. One is a good pair of pliers. Now I use these bigger pliers, something I can really get a good grip on, and I'll show you why later. We're going to use this to pull the liner out, and it's a pretty tight fit, so sometimes it's hard to pull it out. So I choose something with a good handle. Another thing is an adjustable wrench, or any kind of wrench really that'll work to use to untighten some bolts here. And another thing, the last thing, is a good pair of wire pinchers, a good pair of snips, because we're going to need to cut this liner without crimping it. Well, first thing is we've taken the gun completely off the welder, and once we've done that, we're just going to take off the nozzle and the nozzle tip. And this piece here, I've already loosened mine, but this is probably where you're going to need to use some pliers, because hopefully it's on there pretty snug. You're going to want it on there snug while you're welding. So now that we've taken this off, you can see that the liner is sort of sticking out here a little bit. You're going to want that. Now that we've done that part, we're going to move on to the bottom part that actually comes into the welder. There's a little kind of nut here that you're going to want, that you need to loosen. And I've already loosened mine, but this is also where you're going to need to use your pliers or your adjustable wrench, and just loosen that a little bit, and that's actually part of the liner. So now that we've loosened these two pieces, we're good to go. We're ready to pull it out. This is where a good pair of pliers is going to come in handy. Now what I usually do, the easiest way for me to do it, is I usually stretch my gun out all the way so that it's flat. That way it's easy for me to pull the liner out. I'll grab a hold here at the end, and I will just pull and pull and pull until it comes out. So I'm going to go ahead and pull mine out, and we'll go move on to the next step. Okay, so now that I've completely pulled my liner out, there's nothing in the gun. I'm going to take my new liner, the cane, take off all the zip ties holding it together. Now watch out, because if you're not holding this, it's going to unravel and pop you in the face. Roll it out flat. The new end should look like the end that you pulled out. If it's a little different, you can probably work with it. And a lot of times, some of the liners are just this spring material here. You don't have an end on it. I do for my gun because it's a little different gun. So when you go into your metal supply place or your welding supply place, make sure that you find someone that can help you, and tell them what machine you're using, and they should be able to get you the correct liner. And now this next step, as you could have guessed, is pretty easy. We're just putting the liner back in where the old liner was. You're just going to feed it through all the way. And you're going to hit a little resistance as you get towards the gun, because the gun has an arch to it. But just keep pushing it through. Don't worry, you're not going to hurt it. Feed it all the way through till you get down to the end there. And there you have it. Make sure you push it in all the way. Okay, so you can see we've fed it all the way through the gun, and I've got a good 3 or 4 feet hanging out here. This is where you're going to need your good snips. I cannot stress this enough. If your snips are not sharp or not good, do not use them, because once you crimp this wire, you're going to run into the same problems that you had before, with causing you to have to replace your wire. What we're going to do is we're just going to come out, say a ½ inch or so, and snip it. Be careful not to crimp your wire. And what you want is something like that. Got a snippet, it didn't crimp the wire, so the wire will, the welding wire can feed through here without any sort of resistance. Now that we've got that done, grab your tips, put everything back on, put it on there nice and tight. Put your welding tip back on. And that's it. We'll hook your gun back up to your welder, feed your wire through, and you are ready to rock.